Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business, Building a Brand blog. This one, big number 254. So I want to talk a little bit about fear. Why? Because fear is part of the process. And if you expect to accomplish anything amazing and not be scared, just a little bit scared, you are totally mistaken. Because honestly, fear is good in a lot of cases, but it can also be bad. Gentlemen, today I want to talk a little bit about fear because it's something I've been thinking about and dealing with. Actually, I've dealt with it for a really long time. Everything I've tried, I've been a little bit scared. And so today I want to talk a little bit about fear because I think that we, as an entrepreneurial society, don't talk enough about that part of things. So the reason I'm thinking a little bit more lately about this whole idea of fear is I recently posted a video on the Alpha YouTube channel where I said, hey, I'm talking about the church, and I said, hey, I'm scared, I'm dealing with something. By the time it's all finished, I will probably be over budget about $500,000, and that's before I make one penny of revenue, before I have one customer, before I have no idea. Now, the truth is, I'm getting close. I'm about a month away from telling you like the whole situation because there's a lot more to this than I am able to talk about right now. And I will explain, and it'll make more sense once I actually tell you what it is and how it's gonna work. It's gonna make more sense then, but right now I just can't talk about that specifically, but I can talk about the fact that I'm a little scared. And I realize that it's a risk. Now, the truth is, once I explain everything, you'll understand how, if this works, it's not that big of a risk. It's an investment, and it's going to be an amazing investment for me because, just to let you know, I'm going to be part owners of the business. I'm also going to be the landlord, getting rent, and so there's more. I'm sorry. I wish I could just tell you, but I can't. So anyway, so just thinking about the magnitude and the financial burden, because this is literally the most expensive thing that I've ever done, right? The biggest biggest financial risk I've ever taken. And I sort of think about when I filed bankruptcy, right? So when the fitness center collapsed and I was filing bankruptcy, I bankrupted like $500,000. And it was at this point, when I got done with that bankruptcy, I was like, yo, I am never, ever, 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 I'm never putting myself out there. I'm never going to be, risky again. I'm going to be conservative and all that good stuff. Well, I also said that I would never, ever, ever do any type of like brick and mortar like business. Well, things have kind of changed and evolved a little bit. And so I decided that I was going to do this. Anyway. What I want to talk about is fear, because the truth is that it is a little bit scary. It's scary to put yourself out there. It's scary to not know whether or not something is going to work, whether or not it's not going to work. And the truth is that if it doesn't work, if this business doesn't work and it's like, yo, sorry, it just doesn't work, I can sell that business. Or I could sell my office and the other office that I own, and I could move my office there. They're options, right? And so that doesn't mean that I'm not scared. And when I started to really think about the fact that, this is potentially risky, I started really thinking about fear and how, as an entrepreneur, it's part of the process, it's part of the equation. If you're not scared just a little bit, then either A, your goals aren't big enough, or you're dumb. Because honestly, you should be scared. There's that part of that, right? And whether or not it's fear of the unknown, or it's fear of putting yourself out there, whether or not it's fear of failure, because that's the other part of this equation. Failure is always a part of it, right? But there's a good fear and a bad fear. The bad fear is that your fear is so strong and you are so worried about the potential negative worst case scenario that you actually never try, right? You never put yourself out there because you're like, yo, I just can't risk it. I just don't know. I'm going to stay safe. That type of fear is bad. But if you can harness it, if you can control it, if you can manage the fear, you can actually use it to your advantage and use it as a motivator, because I got to be honest, nothing motivates me like fear. For me personally, fear is a huge, and when I mean huge motivator. Now, the truth is I don't focus on the fear, because I think if you do that, if you focus on, the worst case, it could potentially derail you. It could prevent you from trying what you're wanting to try, right? If you focus on the negative, right, of course, if that's like what you're like only looking at, it's going to prevent you from ever trying, ever moving forward. But for me, the fear, it's there. And there are a few things that I fear. One is I fear that I regret something. And that is one of the things, that honestly outweighs my fear of failure. I fear and I am scared that I might regret something. I don't want to look back and be like, man, I really should have. It would have been cool if I did. You know what? I'm going to throw it out there. It may work out. It may not. I have failed. I'm going to continue to fail. You're going to fail. That is the other constant, and something not constant, hopefully, but it is part of the equation, right? You're going to be scared. You better be scared, and you're going to fail. You're going to fail at something. And this failure, it's okay. It's part of the story. Until you really fail and figure things out and change directions, right? You're never ultimately going to be as successful. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that until you fail, get the first one like out of the way, right? Because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You fail, you pick yourself back up, you readjust, you're sad for like a second, right? Maybe longer than a second, because the truth is when my fitness center, when I was driving that beer cart, man, I was so scared. I was so scared. Every day I would wake up and I'd be like, oh my God. Why was I scared? I was scared that it wasn't going to work out. I was scared that my hopes and my dreams were going to collapse. I was scared that I didn't know what plan B was, right? And the fear, it was there, but what do? You manage it. And honestly, my worst case scenario happened. No matter how much I wanted, no matter how much I was like, oh, please. I was bargaining with you know how when you really want something, you're like, dear Jesus, or dear God, or please, baby Jesus, like whatever. Like you're making deals like, okay, if you get religious when you're not even religious, right? You start just like trying to chant Buddha, like whatever. Like I was doing anything and making deals with whatever, right? To not let it fail, not let the worst case scenario happen. And guess what happened? Exactly. It happened. And so at that point, I was like, well, shit, what now? I didn't know. And that's the other thing that was scary. It's like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. But it motivated me to look and to explore things and to pick up a video camera. And I got to be honest, the things in my life that have worked out the best have been the things that have scared me the most. Like I am super scared of technology. I didn't want to get a BlackBerry back in the day because I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to figure out like how to send an email, right? I was so worried about the setup process that I didn't want to get one. And my wife was like, you're an idiot. And then she gets me a video camera. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It sat in the box for literally like a year, 8 months, before I picked it up and like, I'm going to figure this out, right? And it scared me. I didn't know that I'd be able to upload a video, right? Fear has always been part of it, and it's going to be part of it, and it's okay that it's part of it, and it should be. And guess what? The thing that I was scared of, this camera, ended up being the best decision, the second best decision I've ever made. The first best decision was working out and exercising. That was the first, and maybe my wife, right? Okay, so my wife and YouTube, you know what I'm saying. Pete and Pedro, guess what? Scared, super scared okay, so I wasn't scared to start it because it was a very little amount of money, right? That's the thing. When things are little, when they're not that ambitious, it's not that scary. But then when I signed the lease to my warehouse, it's like, oh boy, now I'm gonna potentially be on the hook for money, and I just don't know, and scared, right? Now, today, I moved warehouses, it's like 2 times as big, it's overflowing, and it's an amazingly successful business. But if I wasn't scared, I could have stayed safe. I could have not had ambition. And I got to tell you, ambition to some degree is a little bit of a curse, right? Because when you're ambitious, when you want something, when you want better, you always want to be striving. You always want to be challenging yourself and taking it to that next level. Tiege Hanley was next level. I didn't start Tiege Hanley with Rob and Kelly to be a small business. From day one, it was, how big can we make this? And guess what? It was scary. Why was it scary? Because what if it doesn't meet our expectations? What if you guys don't actually like our products? What if we can't figure it out? What if all the things that I think are going to happen don't happen? If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is, I believe, the author that is credited with that quote. Actually, it's because Google. I'm not just Google. They help me. Anyway, the deal is this. You're going to be scared, and no matter how big, no matter how successful, no matter how whatever, you're still going to be scared. You're going to be scared of failing. But do not allow the fear of potential failure or failure derail you from even trying. Gentlemen, do not be that person. All right, if you're not cut out, if you're the person that is like, yo, I just don't know, because what if what if it doesn't work out, and what if this, and then I'm gonna be embarrassed, and then I'm gonna, if you're that person, you have no business being an entrepreneur, period. Get it off the table, because those people are not built for what it's going to take and what it's going to take you to be successful. And the one thing I can honestly say, sitting here, after many successes and many, many failures, is that fear is ever present. And for me, it's a motivator. And I need that in order to propel me and to drive me forward, because I'm scared. I'm scared of things collapsing. I'm scared of it not working out. But do not allow fear to rule you to the point of not trying. That, to me, is one of the saddest tragedies of life. Don't do it. You're better than that. You can do this. Might you have some issues? Yes, you will have issues. And being scared, it's part of the equation. Gentlemen, now there's a business question from last vlog that I love. What do you think of these glasses? I just got them. GlassUSA.com, like $40, right? When I say I love GlassUSA.com, it is not a joke. Anyway, I saw them. They were like clear. I was like, hey, let me try them, right? These are my go-to. Anyway, these were like $30. Like, seriously? Anyway, I thought I'd try them. Anyway, what I am going to try to do now is answer this amazing question from our friend Coy. Coy says, the business question is about mindset. He says, I thought, like many people, quarantine life was going to be me achieving my most productive self, getting things done and taking things to the next level, but it seems to be quite the opposite. My question is, when you feel you've fallen off track or find yourself in a funk, what are some of your strategies to righting the ship and getting back to doing the work? Thanks for the valuable content. So this is such an amazing, amazing question, because I can relate. I have also found myself in a little bit of a funk throughout this whole quarantine thing. And I think the quarantine situation and everything that we're dealing with, I think it's much bigger than just being in a rut, right? You can be in a professional rut or a creative rut, but this thing that we've dealt with and that we're dealing with, it's a whole nother level. I think it takes a little bit of the joy out of life away, right? Because you're like, hey, you can't see people. For me, at least, I love seeing people. I love, going places and going out to dinner and doing all that. Going to Chicago to see Tiege Hanley. That's something else I haven't been able to do, and I'm not going to be doing this quarter either in terms of the quarterly meeting. And it's because I am not feeling 100% safe traveling yet. And so it's like, if we can do it remotely, I'm going to stay here in Atlanta. But all these little things that you used to do or that you love doing, it changes the complexity for me, it puts me in a little bit of a funk, I gotta be honest. And then you combine that with YouTube being in a really weird place right now. My views are down 30%. Everybody's views in my genre are down because people are like, yo, dating, whatever. I'm not worried about that. Grooming, who cares? Style, I'm wearing sweatpants on Zoom calls all the time. And so it's tough. And so I have found myself in a bit of a funk. I have been here before, though. I've been here literally, it was a little over a year ago when, the algorithm changed, everything dropped, my views were actually worse than they are now. And what I ended up doing was honestly, and this is kind of what I do now, I push through it. And it's reminding myself that, once again, it's part of the process, right? The reason why, and just to show you, I've talked about it before, on the back of my watch, right? This watch was expensive. And I got it at the time when things were really bad being relative, on YouTube and business about a year ago, a little over a year ago. And I got it and I engraved on the back, get to work. And the reason I did this is because I think we have a tendency to sort of feel sorry for ourselves. So at least I can be honest, I feel sorry for myself sometimes. Or I'll get in that mindset where it's oh, poor me, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna go next? I get in these little mini mind funks, right? And the watch was a reminder to just get to work, right? It's not always gonna be roses. It's not always gonna be amazing. It's not always gonna feel amazing, right? Sometimes you just got to keep your head down and keep showing up every day. And eventually, if you keep showing up, you keep working, you get to where you need to be, and things change, or you change them. But sitting there and just like having my hand down my pants and being like, I don't know, I'm not going to do, like, that for me has never been an option. And the reason is because of fear, right? We're tying it back in. I am scared that if I stop trying, things are going to not only slow, they're going to go in a drastically different direction. And I know that the one thing I can control is my ability to get up every day and do the work even when it's not sexy, even when it's not super fun. And so something that I do in order to help me in terms of my mindset is exercise. Being outside, I love. Like, if I didn't get outside, if I didn't run, like literally I've been like running every day outside, even if it's just for like 45 minutes or an hour, just getting outside and being and clearing my mind. For me, that has helped. It's always helped. And so for me, exercise is a big part of it. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been going to the gym, but, the good news is that because I love fitness and I built a house, I built like a little bit of a home gym, and that has sustained me enough. But I'm a social person. I love having places to go. And so, trying to change up like the monotony, and I think really that's one of the biggest problems, Coy, that I face is the monotony. Doing the same thing every day and not having something like great or something exciting or something new to sort of look forward to. There are no trips planned. I don't have anything like great coming up. It's one of those things where I just need to work. I need to stay focused. I need to keep my head down and keep showing up. And even if you're not doing your best work, even if you are, struggling creatively a little bit, you still show up. It gets better if you keep trying, but it's when you stop trying, when you stop striving, this is when things can get really dark. And then I associate this sort of similar to like fitness, right? I have never taken, I have never taken, unless I was like deathly ill and I can't even remember, I have never taken a week and not exercised. Since I literally started exercising when I was 12 years old, there has not been a week that I have taken like 7 days and not done anything unless I was obviously sick. I ruptured my Achilles tendon. Guess what? I'm on the crutches. I'm in the gym because for me, I need it. It feeds my brain. It feeds my creativity. It feeds every ounce of my body. I need to challenge my body. But I assume that a lot of people, when they don't have this like hardwired into their brain and they're not doing it every day, right? I assume that one of the things that's tough is that when you fall off the wagon, right, you might gain a little bit of weight. You might just not be like, next week. You've gone a month not exercising. That first step, that first engagement back is super hard, right? But if you allow yourself to sort of stay and focus on, what you haven't accomplished and beating yourself up as opposed to just being like, all right, I'm 5 pounds fatter, whatever, I'm going to go get in the gym. I'm going to take that first step. That first step is the hardest. And so I don't know if I've got any advice other than get your ass in the gym or exercise. That's always worked for me, and it's the thing that I do. And the other thing that I do is I focus when things aren't fun, they aren't exciting. But that's me. You've got to figure out what gets you going, what gets you motivated. But I understand mindset is tough, right? Being all inspired, being all excited when things are good, that's easy to show up for. But when things are bad, like they are now, or when you're just feeling a little bit melancholy, that's when you got to figure out what you're made of, honestly. Are you motivated, or do you need external things to keep you going? And if that's the answer, then you better find those extrinsic things. But unfortunately, they fade, right? Internal drive, internal motivation, these are the things that only you can control. You can't even control it, honestly, but it's personal. It's a personal story, it's a personal journey, and it's a personal drive. And so unfortunately, Coy, the only advice I have is you better figure it out. Or don't. But the only way it's going to get better is if you show up and you do the hard work, even when the hard work is not fun. Gentlemen, that is where I'm going to wrap things up. If you have a business question, down below, start with business question. If you got a business idea and you want a little tough love, ask that. Next week, we're going to Next week, we're going to get to some of your business questions, give you an update on Tiege Hanley, because I've kind of dropped the ball a little bit on Tiege Hanley in terms of updates. There's a lot of things happening. A lot of things are good. Some things are not good. But the bottom line is we are pressing forward. Gentlemen, as long as we've got you on our side, we're good. We're aces. Gentlemen, we love you more than our double monk strap shoes. And like I said, if you've got a business question, start it with business question and ask it. Next week, we'll get to a few more of yours. Also, the update, like I've been promising for weeks, but there's so much. Like, we just hired this like tech thing. And anyway, gentlemen, things are good. You're amazing. Thank you for hanging with us. We love you.